Hi, you ready to learn about cryptocurrency?
Yes, please.
All right, let me ask a question. How many of you right now have played with Bitcoin, have a friend who's played with Bitcoin, or a client who's played with Bitcoin? So I'd say at least 75% of you. So it's starting to become more and more household, and I think that's only going to grow, and we'll see in some of my slides. I just want to give you a very, very brief background, a little bit more on me. I started noticing cryptocurrency, actually Bitcoin. I didn't even know what the word cryptocurrency was at first. I started noticing Bitcoin roughly about 2012. On the television, I was watching CNBC a lot. I used to love to watch Kramer because I love to trade in the stock market. And when the markets crashed in '08, of course they didn't really crash around here until about 2010, the real estate market. And then the stock market crashed as well. Apple was the stock I was watching, and it went from whatever it was down to next to nothing. So I started paying closer attention to CNBC. Sure enough, they were talking about Bitcoin. I was like, this is really interesting. I'm curious. I didn't even know where to start to think about it in more in depth. So I didn't pay much attention to it. I was busy trading Apple in the stock market. And then about a year later, the price shot up from whatever it was to over $1,000. And in the news, CNBC and other places, there was a couple of twins. They're called the Winklevoss twins. How many have heard of them? Okay, a lot of you folks. They became millionaires when the price shot up to $1,000, and it was all over the news. And I was scratching my head going, how did they do that? See, I didn't even know at the time that Bitcoin was traded very similar to how stocks were traded. I had no clue how they were making money with this thing called Bitcoin. And when it went up to $1,000, $1,200, whatever it was, I was kicking myself all over the room thinking, darn, I missed it. I missed it. I missed an opportunity. Again, I missed it. So I didn't pay any attention to it for a couple of years, and for some reason, one summer in 2015, I decided to look it up. The price had fallen all the way down to 250 bucks. And in that 2-year period, I started doing a tiny bit more research on it, and I understood it to be a payment system that was designed to upend the banks in a nutshell. And I'm like, well, that anarchist in me is all for that. I know how much I pay for merchant services every time somebody pays me with a credit card or a debit card. So I started paying more attention, and I was so excited, I thought, well, at 250 bucks, I didn't miss the boat. I can afford to buy one of those. So I bought 2. And then I went around Eugene, Oregon, looking for a place to spend some, because after all, it was meant to replace my debit card, right? I went looking for a place to buy a cup of coffee, or a pizza, or a sub sandwich, because that's what they told me on CNBC I could do. Well, you could, probably in New York. I couldn't find any place except for one. I found one guy who was a computer geek. He would restore old laptops and desktops and sell them. I don't remember how I found him. We got connected, and I agreed to buy a used laptop from him for 1 Bitcoin. Does anybody know why that was probably not the smartest thing to do? Oh, yes, about $20,000 reason why that was not a good thing to do. What really upset me, after I finished the deal, I was excited beyond belief. I was so excited. I bought something with Bitcoin. I had a laptop that lasted about a year. Yeah. And then once the price started going up, this guy went on his life, he went his way, and shortly after I bought those 2, I decided to go ahead and buy one more. I don't remember why. So I ended up with a total of 3, but I spent 1, so now I was down to 2. And then the price went up to about 1,200 bucks is what I'm remembering, 1,250 maybe, and I was again so excited. I finally made a good decision on one of my investments, so I sold it. Yeah, that was in, I sold, of course I did. So I sold them right, I think if I remember correctly, it was right around October, November 2017. What happened shortly after that? Yeah, the price shot up to 20 grand. Now, I got madder than all get out, and I'm doing a really good job not swearing up here so far. Many of you may know, some of you don't, I'm a former firefighter. I'm a wildland firefighter and forester, my first real job, but I don't have a degree in forestry, but I kind of am a go-getter. If I want to do it, I go do it. My degree is in mathematics and computer science. I hate to tell you, I don't have a degree in accounting either. I hated accounting in college, but I taught myself, as many of you might have. So I try not to swear, but there's that firefighter in me that really likes to. So I got really upset because what I realized had happened is this guy took advantage of me. He wanted to acquire as many Bitcoin as he could acquire without spending any money. And he found a patsy. He didn't care about educating me. I'm a natural-born educator, I realize. I've been doing it now for many years. I've taught people about forestry, I've taught people about computers, I've taught people about accounting, I've taught kids. I realize that this is sort of a natural part of my being. And when I realized that, I was so freaking mad, I said, fine, I'm going to learn everything there is to know, and that isn't going to happen to me again. And then I wanted to share it. So with all that, does anybody have any questions or comments before I jump right into it?
Where'd you fight fires, Mike?
I fought fires on Mount Hood for the Zigzag Hotshots. That was from 86 to 1990. Trying not to give away my age, but I think I'm done in now. Anything else? Let's see if my stick still works here. Nice. So this is the introduction that Bob already did for me. We're going to start slow, as I say at most of my trainings, and we are definitely going to build to a crescendo.